Hey, ETHDenver. So super excited to talk to you all today. I don't know if you guys got to see the opening ceremonies, but we had a lot of discussion about AI agents, about user experience, about use cases that are now possible, that were not possible. So I want to talk to you a little bit today about what I'm calling Ethereum's OpenClaw moment. This isn't a talk only. I mean, it'll touch a little bit on OpenClaw itself, but it's going to be a larger discussion about the implications of what OpenClaw means for us as builders in the Ethereum ecosystem. I believe that we are passing a threshold where on-chain activity can be automated, it can be safer, it can be easier to use and accessible for mainstream audiences. Before I get into that, I'm just going to give you a quick background on who I am, what the context of what I want to present to you today is. My background is I've been working on creating great user experiences for Ethereum since late 2019, 2020, when I joined the MetaMask team. I was part of building the growth model and the monetization model and all those things in the wallet space. And I had felt that there were some major challenges, especially in the 2021, 2022 cycle, with how we were onboarding people into Ethereum. And so to talk about that, and near and dear to me, I'm an Ethereum radical. And when I see the challenges that we have, I see that the previous model of how we interact with smart contracts has basically been saturated. The people that we are able to onboard in the previous model, they've pretty much been onboarded. And we heard great thoughts from Tomasz this morning about how 2025, we were basically told there's two paths. There's pivoting to institutions, and there's building a casino tech. And the reality is the previous user experience is dictating those problems. So if we rewind the clock to early Ethereum, 10 years ago, DevCon 1, we had the really exciting use cases that were presented at DevCon 1. We famously had, Slockit opened a lock using an Ethereum transaction. We were supposed to get all of these use cases that you see here on the left-hand side. And we got, I don't think, hardly any of them. We got primitive versions of them. And what we ended up getting was, the casino tech. And a lot of, for me, as an Ethereum, as an early Bitcoiner, this was very far from what I set out to join. And some of the earliest agentic use cases, I'm going to make fun of Pump Fun. I love you guys, but building an AI agent to fake volume, like we can use AI agents in much more interesting ways. And just to underscore this problem, the 2025, like everything has to pivot to institutions. This is what we were seeing. The number of wallets and the number of active wallets were going down, but prices were going up. And that looks a lot like a previous adoption curve that if we have Ethereum's cypherpunk values, we should be super alarmed. Because the Linux adoption curve, which is what I'm pointing out here, is Linux 1. It runs all the infrastructure of our world, but overwhelmingly just in the enterprise space. We seeded the user space to proprietary surveillance tech. And there is a different adoption curve that agentic AI opens up, which is the adoption curve of the internet itself. So why is this possible now? Why are all those use cases that I was pointing to in that previous slide possible now? It's because we have this trifecta of new innovations that are all possible. So when we look at this, we now have the ability with 7702 to upgrade these EOA wallets into smart wallets. And with 7715 and 7710, we can actually get delegations and permissions from users' existing wallets so that they're not approving every individual transaction, but they're not exposing their keys to a centralized, trusted third party, or not so trusted third party. Instead, we're with these EIPs, we're getting permissions to do things automatically. We also now, through EIP 8004, we have open standards to register AI agents to be consumed by other agents and to pay for those AI agents through microtransactions like X402. I would encourage you all to go and check out some of the great X402 talks that are happening this week. And then we also have, with OpenClaw, we have personal agents. These are not just research models anymore. We have agents that are carrying out execution on behalf of the user and that are able to do things while we sleep. So when we bring together those three pieces, we have a moment where we can now build self-sovereign AI products that abstract away the complexity of the crypto user experience and make this accessible to everyone. We can restore the cypherpunk values of Ethereum while doing so in a way that also brings back great user experiences and doesn't compromise on them. So we built Fello. This is our product. This is the very first AI agent that is capable of generalized on-chain actions. It can interact with any smart contract, and it can also automate any smart contract. So this means that it's pretty radical. We don't need dApp front ends. Like for the longest time, some of the main FUD against Ethereum was dApp front ends. They have bad user experience. They're a major censorship point, and they just generally are not how most people use the internet. ChatGPT it has a mass adoption moment, and this is how the majority of humanity is going to interact with the internet. So if we were to put in a prompt in this, I'm going to give you a really simple one. So let's swap some USDC for ETH. In this example, it can't just be a chat interface. So what we've built is a combination of chat models that are familiar, as well as rich crypto UI that people can interact with, and they can complete on-chain actions in a way where the complexity is abstracted away by the user's agent. We also then get the opportunity to do automation. We can build automations through prompts that allow our agent to act on our behalf and protect our interests and allow us to navigate the Ethereum ecosystem. So here's three examples of that. Use the liquidity in my wallet to ensure my loan positions are not liquidated. We're all being liquidated because the market is on fire. This is pretty familiar, I assume, to a lot of the people here. So an AI agent, you can give it a delegation and permissions to carry out actions on your behalf up to the thresholds that you define without tons and tons of transactions or being glued to your phone and being terrified that the market is about to dump. You can also give this second prompt. You could batch 1,000 transactions together to sell all of the meme coins in your wallet and move yourself out of meme coins and sell them all for ETH. The agent can create a proposal for how to do that for you and carry out all of the complexity for you in a simple prompt. The third example here is an ongoing action. Move the profits from my volatile assets into stables. This is pretty self-explanatory, but this is something that we would have never been able to do without agentic AI. So underlying these innovations, I want to point out a couple of major innovations that have happened in the ecosystem. It hasn't gotten as much publicity as it should, in my opinion. The MetaMask Smart Account Kit allows us to do these forms of permissioning from users' existing liquidity. And so this is what we have, Fello, we built on top of this stack. We want users to be able to bring their existing wallet, not be forced to onboard into some proprietary wallet for their agent and only putting a small amount of funds and hoping that it doesn't hallucinate and lose all your funds. You should be able to control the permissions of your agent iteratively. And we need models that run in a self-sovereign environment that is controlled by the user, even if it's hosted, it's fast, but it needs to be deterministic. It needs to prove that the model that's being run is the model that it says it is. I would refer you to Vitalik's talk this morning. He talked a lot about this during opening ceremonies. This is a rough example of the kinds of user experiences that we're building. So you can onboard either using your existing wallet, or you can deploy a new smart wallet using an SSO credential. Then once your wallet is connected, the agent can actually look at your asset history. It can look at your deposits, what you've done on chain. And for us, we have biased the system prompts and behaviors of the models that we run around deepening users into the DeFi rabbit hole. We want to surface new opportunities, things that they maybe aren't aware of, and help them to go go and explore the Ethereum ecosystem and all of the vibrancy that builders are building here at ETHDenver. We also need human verification of any action that the agent is going to carry out before the agent does that. And so after the model produces a plan, it's going to have the human review that. That's not enough, though. To really do this safely and to protect users from hallucinations and those sort of things, we need a multi-model architecture. So this means that a single model is proposing, another model is reviewing every subsequent action that the user is doing. It's going to need context and privacy, which is not, frankly, how OpenAI or Claude or Grok are built today. Happy to talk to you about how we're going to accomplish that in future things. I would also point to some of the great work that the Venice team is doing around privacy. And then we need specialized evals for crypto context. And we also need the ability for models to both be pruned and to have additional data sets added on top of them through LoRa and Dora and those sort of things to improve the performance of on-chain actions. Vitalik last year, at the end of last year, talked about the risk of the AI hegemon. And this is sort of like a dystopia with a single AI that controls our lives. It's kind of like what's in Terminator. And the trend that we're actually seeing, though, with OpenClaw is that we're actually seeing tons of agents that operate autonomously and interdependently with each other. And so I'm very excited about this. I want to, again, point people to that delegations and permissions are a better pattern where you can trust agents to do specific things. You can delegate rights from one agent to another agent and create the agentic economy using this architecture. And also with 8004, we should be registering our agents and their standards and how to communicate with them between each other. This should not just be something where we build centralized APIs like they use in Web 2. No, we need agents to be able to permissionlessly interact with each other on behalf of what users have defined. So for us in CoinFellow, we believe really deeply in the 8004 flywheel. We are registered as, or will soon be registered as an 8004 agent, and then we can consume other agents as well. So this is developers can consume us inside of your products, and we also consume your products. There are a lot of specialized agents. We've focused on generalism for our agent, but many people are also building other agents that solve specific use cases that are well beyond the specificity that our agent does. This said, please go and try CoinFellow. We have been we're in a private alpha today, so you can actually sign up to try this, to give us feedback. Today, the product is still using individual EOA transactions. We'll be transitioning to the delegations and permissions that I was talking about earlier in this conversation very shortly. But today, we've opened up this special preview at ETHDenver. You will only be able to sign up for this at ETHDenver. It will go closed again, and then we're going to do a public launch at ETHCC. I think that is it for the conversation. I think, or for the presentation. I think we have about 4 minutes to take a couple questions if anyone wants to ask a question. Right there. Sorry, I couldn't quite hear the question. The question was about credentials. Yeah, so for us, there isn't a universal binary trust model. So when a user onboards into CoinFellow, they can make a certain amount of they can make a very small allowance and grant permissions over it. And one of the things that's great about 7710 and 7715 is you don't need subsequent transactions to increase the permissions, or to grant additional permissions, or to increase the allowance to your agent. So over time, as you iteratively trust this more and in specific contexts, you can do that without forcing people to have hundreds of wallets and fragmented liquidity, which is kind of the default model that we see most people building in today. We have another question right here. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, so the question was, how do we think about insurance risk to users in those contexts? So one of the great things that, one is we need AI agents that specialize in that. We have built a generalized agent, and our generalized agent can today use a lot of the off-the-shelf DeFi insurance protocols. And one of its behaviors, because we're making recommendations based on things that you haven't done, so it will actually iteratively start introducing you to concepts like insurance over time. It can also delegate and call other agents that specialize in insurance to get you the best possible experience. And that's kind of our approach with everything. So that's our approach with token swaps. That's our approach with discovering DeFi protocols, with discovering insurance primitives. Everything that our agent is focused on is about being the user's entry point into the entire decentralized web. As I mentioned earlier, like, I'm from the MetaMask team, and our vision and strategy was always, or I was from the MetaMask team, I should say. Our vision and strategy was always maximal extensibility, give users access to the entire decentralized web. Whereas I think most products in our space trended towards specific integrations and saying, like, you have to do that. And it sort of is like building a dumb phone, when Ethereum is all about extensibility, being Turing complete, being maximally programmable. And so we think that the AI agentic space, it needs to not be confined to simple use cases. It needs to give access to the users across the entire decentralized web. I think that is all the questions. I have 30. I have 1 minute. Was there another question? We'll wrap there. Thank you so much, everybody. Come talk to us. We have a booth that is right in front of the DeFi stage, the New France stage, right over to your right. We'd love to talk to you. We'd like to talk to other builders. We'd like to talk to users who want to try this, critique it, break it, and let's build together.